Hello, beautiful community. Musk is extremely dangerous because he is awful at politics, but thinks he is brilliant at politics. Now, I did a live recently where I was a bit hyper because I was sort of running on adrenaline because my health was struggling. And so I ranted maybe more than I've ever done. And I've decided to share a couple of these rants. And this one is going to be about a 5-minute rant about Musk. It's going to be a bit incoherent, but direct and honest about what I think the issues are that I believe it's worth sharing. And no, it doesn't mean that I'm going to start sharing clips on this channel. I'm against that. We'll always be engaging directly. Now, at the end of the 5 minutes, it just cuts off. So I'm going to project myself forward into the future and say, lots of love, beautiful community, and see you for next time. That's for the end of the 5-minute segment you're going to watch now. The story with Musk is that for reasons of a double neurodiversity, right? Suspected ADHD and confirmed, self-confirmed at least, autism. And both are looking pretty clear. You don't need to be a genius of neurodiversity to diagnose that. He has a very, very lopsided combination of strengths and weaknesses. And he has an almost lethal flaw around walking into a room and thinking he can immediately work out how everything works in it on the basis of previous rooms he's walked into. But political rooms are nothing like it. I mean, let's take his utterly bizarre obsession. Well, it's not bizarre, it's completely logical obsession with UK politics. Somebody in the UK, actually, we have a good idea of who, has been feeding Musk stuff about UK politics. And Musk has been essentially interfering in UK politics and even taking preference in who he likes and who he doesn't like on the populist right, and assaulting our Prime Minister Keir Starmer, and peddling a whole range of falsehoods about the legal system in the UK and so on. Part of this is not grift. It's that Musk has genuinely convinced himself he understands UK politics on the basis of a few links that some people have sent him. He has a sort of a lethally unconstructive, to put it mildly, propensity to think he can work it all out. And he generally thinks that about politics too. Now, Musk has elements of genius about him, right? Being freakishly competent at certain things. There's certain things he can do, certain ways he can concentrate that are freakish, and partly to do with some gifts autistic people often have. And by the way, all of his communication is neurodiversity. He's often regarded as some kind of weird genius because he has to communicate like that because he's so brilliant. He is brilliant in some ways, but that's got nothing to do with his communication. He cannot speak naturally. He needs to think about speaking. He cannot do facial expressions naturally. He has to think about it as he does it. When he walks, he needs to be conscious in the way you and I don't when he turns left or turns right. So when he goes on the Joe Rogan podcast, the first time round, he can't even speak. That's not because he's a genius. It's because he actually struggles to speak, as is normal for a lot of neurodiverse folks. But Musk's problem, among other things, but in this case, is this extraordinary propensity to immediately think he can work something out. And he genuinely thinks that not just about issues here and there, like UK politics, but he thinks that about politics in general, which is extremely dangerous. He just thinks he's worked it out. But while Musk is hyper competent in some dimensions, he is genuinely worse than like a 16-year-old school politics student at politics. Like he's that bad at politics. He is so bad at politics cumulatively that some 12-year-olds are better at politics than him. But he thinks he's a political genius. But he's spectacularly bad at politics, like awful at it. And that's still a good reason to think that he might clash with Trump, because Trump might get something psychological about some process that needs to be respected, and Musk wouldn't get it. So a position of political power is just about the worst position in which Musk can be. Because Musk has a propensity to think that things have obvious answers that are very complex and multifaceted and actually dependent on, and he has a propensity to think that things that are dependent on values are technical or somehow reducible to some calculus. So he has a propensity to rapidly and catastrophically misunderstand social and political reality, and rapidly and catastrophically apply measurements to it that are completely inappropriate. So he's a very, very dangerous political actor because of that sincerity. It's way worse than grift. Musk is pretty sincere about a lot of what he's doing. That's quite a problem. Trump isn't. Trump doesn't care. But Musk is quite sincere, and that's a scary sincerity. A lot of the worst things ever done are done out of dumb sincerity by human beings. So we've got to be careful.